Okay, so today I'm going to be discussing a video that I keep seeing floating around TikTok, which is this lady who is at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, and she gets up freaked out and claims to see something that is, quote, not real. But when I see the titles in the videos, people are claiming that she saw a skinwalker, or she saw something paranormal, or she saw a reptilian, or she saw somebody's eyes glitching out. And to be honest with you, while it's fun to think about conspiracies and stuff like that, and think that you see something that's not real, sometimes that is very true. Sometimes the veil is thin and we do see paranormal things, but more often than not, it's something that's just pretty boring, vanilla, and it's just something that happens by chance. So I've seen videos going from saying that the lady was drunk and she accused this man beside her of stealing one of her earpods, probably dropped it in the airport, or it's probably floating under the seat somewhere.
Okay, so for everybody who has seen the viral video of the crazy lady that got kicked off the American Airlines flight yesterday going from DFW to Orlando, I just kind of wanted to clear up some things because there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions. So we all boarded the plane. We were on time. Everything was going fine. There was no issues. This woman boarded the plane. We actually took off, we left the terminal, and we were pulling out onto the runway, fixing to take off, and all of a sudden, so this lady had been drinking prior to getting on the plane, evidently. Some people said they'd seen her at the bar next to the terminal. Anyway, so she was sitting in her seat, and I guess she had a pair of AirPods, and they said she had them in her hand, and then within seconds, we don't know if she pocketed them or where she put them. She misplaced them somehow, and she started yelling at the guy next to her, who of course is African American, and saying that he stole her AirPods. And so she started screaming, "Stop the plane, stop the plane." I went off the plane, and so the plane turned around. We hadn't left the ground yet. Anyways, the plane turned around, went back to the terminal. They, that's when that video was shot, was on the way back to the terminal. She was, screaming that we were all gonna die. I can't say I didn't question once or twice whether or not I wanted to even stay on the plane, but, they ended up escorting her off of the plane. Then we waited on the plane probably about 45 minutes, and then they wanted us to get off the plane, and we had to take all of our stuff off of the plane because of all the comments that this woman was making about us dying. And so, we all got off the plane, and, they had not arrested her at this point because, while we're sitting there waiting for them to sweep the plane, make sure that there's nothing wrong with the plane, they also had to take off all of the luggage from underneath the plane, go through it, take the lady's luggage off. While all this is going on, this lady actually came back walking towards the terminal like she was still going to get on the plane, and a lady was blocking her way from going over there. And then another guy came, and they got her and they led her away, and then they announced that, of course, everybody was clapping and cheering that she did not get let back over there. And then they let the I guess the 3 flight attendants that were originally on the plane that were dealing with this lady, they said due to the circumstances that they had to get off the plane, and so they had to have 3 more flight attendants come in, so we ended up delayed about 4 hours coming into Orlando. But, and I've heard a lot of questions, people wondering who she was saying didn't exist. The person she was saying did not exist was the flight attendant who originally was dealing with the complaint whenever she started yelling and screaming about the guy supposedly stealing her AirPod.
There's one account where this man claims that he saw the interaction between the other passenger beside her, saying that, she was sitting there having an interaction with him, but she seemed to be in a trance. He wasn't responding back to her. And that's when she got up and stormed off, claiming the passenger beside her wasn't real.
I'm gonna try. I've tried like 2 times to record this, but I keep going over the 3-minute limit, and I don't want to do a part 1, part 2 type thing. So I'm gonna try to be specific. I was on that flight. It was American Airlines. We were leaving Dallas Fort Worth. I was sitting in the left aisle, about 3 rows back from this woman. She was sitting in the right aisle, and she had this very interesting exchange with some dude in a hoodie. I don't remember the color of the hoodie. I really, you know how memory is. When you're not super paying attention, you don't remember all the details. I had one headphone in, couldn't hear all the specifics of what happened, but I noticed this exchange between this woman and this dude in a hoodie. And it was kind of weird at the time because it seemed like no one else before she really started getting frantic, like was paying attention to this, but that makes sense. It was like a normal flight. This was after putting all the luggage away. We'd been on the plane for a little bit. It was before the flight attendant came over and gave the little spiel. And what I remember is she was having like a full-blown conversation with this dude in the hoodie. I'll call him the hoodie guy. She was having a full-blown conversation with hoodie guy. The weird thing was that he never once said a fucking word to her the whole time. And at the time, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking about it. But it was like it's like she would say something and he like would respond, but there was no exchange happening. It was just her getting more and more frantic. Which, okay, if she's drunk and she's going crazy, then you would think the dude in the hoodie would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? But he was just like dead locked on her, like deep eye contact with her, like I don't want to feed into the conspiracies here, but like almost like she was like in a hypnosis type of thing. And she started getting more and more frantic to the point where then people started kind of noticing. Flight attendant came over, tried to calm her down, like, what's going on? She sat back down, but she kept looking over at this dude in the hoodie, and finally she was like done with it. And that's like when I really started paying attention, like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And that's when she was like, I can't do this. She started getting up. She started walking up to the front. And then the whole video thing happened. I didn't take a video of it. I was listening to a Stephen King audiobook. I wasn't like pulling out my phone to record this. And she didn't seem drunk to me, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I didn't see her drink. I mean, she seemed totally normal to me up until that point. The weird thing was after she left the plane, the dude in the hoodie, which the flight attendant was like, did anything happen? And he still didn't say a word. He just went like, and like shrugged. The dude in the hoodie like looked around the plane and he looked back at me. And he winked at me. And again, I didn't quite register it. I was like, okay, what the fuck was that about? I was like, maybe he's just being like an ass, like winking. Like, that was weird, wasn't it? But now that I look back, I realized that when he winked at me, and it was his left eye looking back at me, it didn't wink like this. It winked like this.
Nobody really knows what's going on with it. It could be anything. It could be that she's going through some type of psychosis. It could be that she's been mixing anxiety medicine and drinking alcohol, because I've seen stuff like that happen, and, you know, it makes people hallucinate a little bit sometimes. Some weird things happen when you mix things you're not supposed to be mixing. Let's just be honest. But it could be anything. Nobody's heard from the lady. Could be the fact that she could simply be having a panic attack for all we know. We don't know. So I would love to hear from the lady, though, but there's been so many weird theories out there. To me, I wish it was a conspiracy theory. Some people are claiming that, oh, it's the government. They put a shapeshifter, a skinwalker on the plane. It's a whole bunch of weird stuff.
This is a new video made by another passenger who was on the flight the woman on the plane was on, who became distraught when she realized she was supposedly sitting next to a shapeshifter.
Hey, stop the fucking plane. Stop the plane! What's going on? Stop it. Stop it. I need to get the fuck off this plane. A volunteer. Can I get a volunteer to sit in the aisle? You're gonna take the down. Yeah, you're here to fucking see you after this. See what happens. See what happens after this. See what happens. Where's your bag? Your bag's on your truck. See what the fuck happens after this. license verified, disarm door, standby protocol.
After this new footage of the woman on the plane who claims to have seen a shapeshifter, some people close to the woman claimed that the passenger sitting next to her blinked her eyes differently. The people heard claimed that that person blinked in a manner similar to what we are showing in this video. Then the passenger realized the anomaly, got desperate, and decided to leave the flight before it took off.
All we could do is, speculate and everything like that, which is why it's important to hear from the person, but I don't think we're going to hear from the person. Because maybe it's just simple as she was drinking and she did lose one of her ear pods and she made a fool out of herself and got escorted off the plane. Who knows? But I seriously doubt that it's a skinwalker or something paranormal. Granted, paranormal things do happen. Let's just be honest. In my opinion, I don't think it's very likely in a space like that. Because sometimes we do hallucinate upon waking up from our naps or something like that. She might have been asleep and then woke up and was acting like a little wonky and whatever. Who knows? Who freaking knows? Nobody could say, unless it's between her and whoever she was sitting next to. They're the only ones who actually know what really went down. And of course the flight attendant. But we haven't heard from them either. So that's my thoughts. That's my takes on it. Whatever you guys think, put it in the comments. See you next time. Bye.